ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Varya Skotarisa Shri Srimad Divine Grace Singapura Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha Ju Ki Jai Shri Madhurya Rasaganai Timurti Mahabhav Prakash Jagannath Swami Ki Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Shri Mati Subhadra Mai Shri Darshi Ju Ki Shri Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Gaur Premanande Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to the Sangha devotees. All glories to the Sangha devotees. All glories to the Sangha devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gauravraganya gana gocha goloruharam Gauranga gudachalopyada kopa vriksham Gopala gadarati damyati singha gauram Govinda deshika varam Sakutam namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachiya Dile Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Vedana Padama Bhumata Tismai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Jari Tadaiva Samvaya Pipa Vishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Gopahima Vanchakalpatarudhischa Kripasindhudya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasavi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'd like to read something from Chaitanya Charitamrita. But before I do, I'd like to ask everybody, please come close. We should think about it. If you have some friends at your house, you don't sit on the other side of the room and you're having a discussion. It's a little strange. So, I'd like to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 1. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter is titled Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. And in this first part of the chapter, there's some discussion given about Sanatana Goswami and how Sanatana Goswami was the prime minister for the Nawab Hussain Shah, a very, very important responsible position. But he wasn't coming in to work anymore. And rather, he was getting together with some Hare Krishna devotees, and they were reading Srimad Bhagavatam every day. And he sent in a note saying, I'm sick, I'm sorry, I can't come into work. And so after a little while, things were becoming difficult for the Nawab. He was relying on Sanatana Goswami for many, many things. And so finally, he sent one of his men to go and check on Sanatana Goswami. What's going on? Should I send a doctor or something? And the representative of the Nawab came back and said he's hanging out with those Hare Krishna people, and they're just reading Bhagavatam and that. And so the Nawab became a little perturbed, and he came to visit that assembly of Sanatana Goswami. And what happened when that Nawab was showed up into the room? I'd like to read that verse. I'll sing this. Since there's no verse on the board, we can chant Hare Krishna in response. Vatsaha dekiya sabe sambrame utila sambrame asana diya rajare vasaila bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Vatsaha dekiya, it said that when they saw that Vatsaha, that Nawab, Dekiya, they saw, Sabi, all of them, Sambrame, in great respect, Utila, they stood up, Sambrame, again with great respect, Asanadiya, they gave a sitting place, Rajari, the king, Vasaila, made to sit. Prabhupada translates, as soon as all the Brahmins and Sanatana Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. Please repeat. As soon as all the Brahmins and Sanatana Goswami saw the Nawab appear, they all stood up and respectfully gave him a sitting place to honor him. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Although Nawab Hussain Shah was a Malacha Yavana, he was nonetheless the governor of the country. And the learned scholars in Sanatana Goswami offered him all the respect due a king or a governor. It's a very amazing thing what's going on. Nawab Hussain Shah was a great cow killer, meat eater, womanizer, and the killer of Vaishnavas and breaker of many Vaishnava Hindu temples. But when he entered into that assembly, everyone stood up and gave respect to him. As Prabhupada says, although he was a Malacha Yavana, he was nonetheless the governor of the country. And the learned scholars in Sanatana Goswami offered him all the respect due a king or a governor. When a person occupies an exalted executive post, one should consider that he has acquired the grace of the Lord. Maybe I'll read that again. When a person occupies an exalted executive post, one should consider that he has acquired the grace of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:41, Lord Krishna says, Yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimadujitam evava tat eva bhagachatvam mama tejo misa sambhavam. Quote, know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. End of quote. Whenever we see something exalted, we must consider it part of the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A powerful man, vibhuti mat sattvam, is one who has obtained the grace of the Lord or has derived some power from him. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:10, Krishna says, Tejasvinam aham. I am the power of the powerful. The learned Brahmin scholars showed respect to Nawab Hussain Shah because he represented a fraction of Krishna's power. Gurave Guru Chandraya Kaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. So I'd like to also first say something about the song we were just singing. He says that Sri Krishna Bhajana Lagi Samsare Ainu I came here to this world. We know from the 3rd canto of the Bhagavatam, it's described there, that I came here to worship the Lord. And then Maya Jali Bhandi Hoya Briksha Samana Hoyni. Then Maya caught me in a net and bound me up. And I became like a tree, like a briksha, a very, very dull living entity. Sneha Latta Vedi Vedi Tanu Koile Seshe, Kida Rupe Nadi Tahi Hridoye Prabeshe. Then at that time, some creepers started growing around the tree of my life. And that creeper was Sneha Latta, the Latta, the creeper of mundane love. And it coiled and coiled around me. And then at that time, Kida Rupe Nadi Tahi Hridoye Pradeshi, in the form of an insect that eats trees, a woman entered into my heart. And then the tree of my life gave some fruits. Phala Rupe Putra Kanya. In the form of Putra Kanya, sons and daughters, Dali Bhangi Pade. They grew on my branches and then they fell to the ground. Sometimes we're attached to keep those fruits to ourselves. Our children, we want to keep them very close with us and always keep them, but you can't keep them. Those fruits will fall to the ground and then they'll leave their home. In Kala Rupe, Kala Rupe Vihanga Upadi Basa Kori. And then at that time in the form Kala Rupe, Vihanga in the form of a bird came and made a nest in the branches of my tree. Baritena Paila Gacha Sukaiya Gela. My tree became stunted. It dried up. And then at that time, Samsara Dharvanala. Samsara Dharvanala Lita Loka. This thing which is Lita Loka, which afflicts all the people of this world, this terrible forest fire of material existence came. And the tree of my life started burning up. And there was smoke coming from that tree. Durvasa, and Dui. There were 2 columns of smoke coming from the burning tree of my life. In the form of Dui, Ute, Dumaiya, in the form of wicked desires and false hopes. This is the tree of my material life burning up before me. I had these hopes, false hopes and all these wicked desires. And then in this situation, Lochan Das Thakur says, finally I'm coming to my senses. And Fukare Kore Lochan Marilama Pudia. Then he begins to call out, he understands, I'm dying, I'm dying. And what does he do? Egao mo Vaisnava Gosai. He starts calling out, Egao, oh, my Vaishnav. Mura, Vaishnav Gosai, my Lord and Master, help me. Karunara Jalasincha Tavi Rakshapai. You please Rakshapai, you please protect me with what? The Karuna Jala, the water of your mercy. So I'm hoping that we'll get some water of mercy from Srila Ranjan Maharaj today. Because it's... Actually, I was speaking with Piri Mohan Prabhu a few days ago, and I told him that it's very difficult. We're going to be traveling a little bit with Ranjan Maharaj and giving some classes. And Piri Mohan Prabhu, just to make me feel better, he said, well, anyway, you can be glad that Maharaj is not here right now. He said, because they might be upset with you if you're giving class instead of Maharaj, but if Maharaj is personally there, then they're probably really not going to forgive you. My many thanks to Piri Mohan for making me feel better today. So, we have a system in our Vaishnava Sanga, and this system is based on respect. We call out to the Vaishnavas. How can you call out to someone if you don't respect them? If you don't really appreciate them? It's just from the lips. Just some lip service. And the only reason that you do such a thing is because you want some position. You want some money, you want some recognition or something. But it's not really true. It's not really from the heart. So that all begins with respect. And this is what we're reading today in this purport from Srila Prabhupada and about the life of Sanatana Goswami. These devotees, in association with Sanatana Goswami, they were giving respect to Nawab Hussain Shah. It's such a very, very important thing to try to understand. This respect is a foundational building block of all relationships. If you don't have respect, you may have some so-called love. But when we see when there's love, so-called love, but there's no respect, then what happens? Domestic violence. There's some fights between the man and the wife, or the parents and the children. They have some kind of love, so-called love, but there's no real, if there's no respect, then that love is just artificial. It's temporary. It's not real. And it's not ahoitaki. It's not apratiyata. It's hoitaki. It has a motivation. And it's pratiyata. It has an end. And therefore, it's not yatma superseded. It's not satisfying to everyone. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in Chaitanya Siksamrita, he speaks about the importance of respect. And he says there's 8 different divisions of respect. And any cultured person should understand these. It's a little subtle. Krishna consciousness is a very subtle topic. It's a very multifaceted subject. And it requires subtle discrimination, subtle intelligence to understand it properly. So it begins with respect. And Bhaktivinoda says there's 8 types. The first of which is Nara Matrera Maryada. If you respect someone because they're a Nara, they're a human being. They may be a headhunter in New Guinea. They may be a cannibal. But they're a human being. And we should respect that. It's a very important birth that they've taken. They're much more elevated than the animals, etc. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he taught, and our acharyas have taught, that we should respect even the animals. When Srila Prabhupada came to Bhubaneswar in 1977, in February, the devotees took him for a walk in Nandankanan Gardens. There's like a zoo there. And as they were going through the zoo, one of the sannyasis, Western sannyasis who was Srila Prabhupada, he took his danda and he stuck it through the cage and started poking the lion with his danda. And Prabhupada noticed that, and Prabhupada stopped. And Prabhupada said, don't do that. And Prabhupada told him, you should respect him. After all, he's a lion. The lion is due some respect. This is the nature of a Vaishnava. If someone is really a Vaishnava, they'll give respect to others. As we were describing yesterday in Chaitanya Bhagavat, it said that Ese Vaishnava Dharma Sabare Pranati. This is the nature, this is the Dharma of a Vaishnava, the Sabare Pranati. He gives respect to everyone. And he says that say Dharmadvaji iti nahirati, that the Dharmadvajis, the false devotees, the pretender devotees, they don't give this kind of respect. So in our dealings, we should understand there's so many reasons to give respect. If I don't have a reason to give respect to someone, but you're giving respect, we just call that a con artist. Something, right? Nobody appreciates that. We call that flattery, false flattery. And usually it's done for some reason to get something out of the person. So we should understand how we can have respect, because Mahaprabhu has told us that amanina manadena, we should respect everyone. But how? Dehanata jata jata. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, according to their position. And Bhaktivinoda very kindly gives us some science of this in Chaitanya Siksamrita. First of all, there's not a matrera maryada. Anyone who's a human being, even they may be a very low-class person, very abominable person, it doesn't mean we have to associate closely with them, but we can give some respect. And this is a sign of a devotee. This is a symptom of our movement. But more than that, we give respect to Sabhyatera Maryada, which some people translate it as someone who's a gentleman, a cultured person. Literally, it means someone who's functioning in a sabha, in a society, that they can deal with other people. They're not just headhunters and cannibals and whatever. And we give respect. Maybe when we see some gentleman who opens a car for a door for a lady who has some principles, that's a gentleman. We respect that. But more than that, Raja Maryada, Raja or Pada Maryada, Bhaktivinoda says, we give respect to anyone who's in authority. Just like the Nawab Hussain Shah. Although he's a great meat eater, a Malecha Yavana, still they were giving him respect because he had the position of a king. And if such respect is not given, then how will society go on? How will society function? If we demand perfection from all the leaders, then how will we work together? It's not that all the leaders necessarily have to be perfect, but if we're going to function under them, we have to give respect. If there's no respect there, if nobody's following, and then there's just chaos, how can we function together as a society? How can we accomplish things outside or inside the society? How can we fulfill the desires of Srila Prabhupada? I've seen many different Vaishnava societies in India over the last 25 years of living there. And I've talked to many Vaishnavas outside of our society. And one thing many of them comment on, they appreciate very much about ISKCON. They said that you people, you cooperate together and you really respect your founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. That's something that they, even if they don't appreciate us in many ways because maybe we're a little green behind the ears and we don't know how to pronounce Sanskrit or Bengali, and we don't know so much culture, but they have great respect for this thing. That out of love for Srila Prabhupada, the devotees are cooperating together. And Prabhupada spoke so many times about this, that wanting the devotees to work together, to forgive each other. Prabhupada wrote a letter to Vrindadevi on October 14, 1971. He said, the best thing for you is to set the example by your personal behavior. That's not so easy, is it? It's easier just to criticize and complain. Prabhupada says, the best thing for you is to set the example by your personal behavior and try to forget such incidences and be always in friendship with each other. So I hope you will immediately forget all these disagreements and fully cooperate for developing our Berlin Center. I've noted your several complaints against the devotees, but it would be better to set the example rather than to criticize the defects of the devotees. We should always remember that we recruit members from people in general. It's not expected that every one of our members should be immediately to the standard qualification. A very deep statement Prabhupada makes. I can see in some ways our greatest asset as a Vaishnava society is our preaching and the fact that so many new people are coming to ISKCON. But it's also our greatest liability. It's a funny thing. It's our greatest asset and it's our greatest liability. We have so many people who are coming. We're preaching to butchers and prostitutes and drug dealers, and some of them join, and some of them are us. And some of us become leaders and managers, and we may not be perfect. But we should always remember, Prabhupada said that it's not expected that every one of our members should immediately come to the standard qualification. By saying this, Prabhupada indicates that he wants us to come to a standard qualification. We shouldn't be lazy, but at the same time, we should be tolerant, and we should understand that this mission is not just for me. This mission is for the pleasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This mission belongs to Srila Prabhupada. Just like if someone comes to your home, you want to treat them very nicely, a Titi Seva. We say a Titi Bhagavan. In India, that the Atiti, the guest, that person who comes unexpectedly, we treat him like God. It's a little difficult sometimes in a temple because whose house is this? Well, this is the house of Sri Sri Radha Gopi Vallabha. And we should have the attitude that I'm a servant in this house. And when some guest comes, then it's my duty as a servant to make them feel very, very comfortable. Because everything is for the pleasure of Sri Sri Radha Gopi Vallabha. But when we forget that, and we start thinking that the temple is for my pleasure, is some place that I can go because I need to have some prasadam, I need to have some friendship, I need something social, I need for my spiritual life. It's also for our spiritual life. But the temple is for our spiritual life so that we can become strong and we can serve. Otherwise, if you see in the Prabhupada memory videos, Achyutananda Prabhu was present at the time when Srila Prabhupada signed the legal papers for ISKCON, making an institution, official legal documents. And it was a very momentous occasion. Prabhupada had worked so very, very hard for so many years without anything. And so he signed those papers and then he turned to the devotees and he told them, actually, we don't need this. He said, for ourselves, we can stay underneath the tree. And of course, practically that's what Prabhupada did in Tompkins Square Park, right? He didn't have a temple, he just sat underneath the tree and just chanted. He said, that's all that we need. He said, but if we sit under a tree, who's going to come? How will people come? So we should understand the purpose of the desire of Srila Prabhupada. And we should try to work to help support that desire. And so part of that is to give respect to the managers, to the leaders. And that requires some subtlety, it requires some sophistication. Because, for example, in New York, there's a famous unfortunate incident that happened. At one point, one of the leaders, the leader of our temple there, he married a lady who wasn't really a devotee, but she was presenting herself like that. And she started ordering some outside chicken and things to the temple. And I don't know all the details, and Ranger Marsh could maybe correct me, but that somebody said that perhaps they're even offering eggs to the deities then and things. It was a very, very heavy thing. And some devotees were very disturbed, and they left the temple. And other devotees just said, well, anyway, what can we do? And they just tolerated. And when Srila Prabhupada came, all the devotees who had left, they came back, and Prabhupada chastised everyone. He chastised the manager who had done that. He chastised the devotees who left. He said, why? You should have spoken up. You should have done something. And he chastised the devotees who passively went along with things. How can you do that? We can't just, in the name of supporting the society, and tolerate when there's some wrong going on. But there's a certain etiquette, there's a certain system. We go to that person, as we were mentioning a few days ago. If we see them doing something which doesn't make sense, that's friendship. If we see somebody, as we were mentioning, somebody coming out of the door of a liquor store or a striptease parlor or something like that, rather than going and telling all the devotees, I saw him coming out, why don't we go and ask him? Maybe he was using the bathroom there. Maybe he was giving someone a book or something. That's the nature of a loving relationship. And it's also required in a society. And we see today, just to speak in a little historical way too, that people in America, they had great respect for the leaders of the country. That the President of the United States was something, I remember when I was a little boy, it was like a very big position. And then came Mr. Nixon and Watergate. And it completely spoiled people's faith in the President. And it did something, I think, worldwide also, and we see in our own society too. In the early days of ISKCON, devotees really, really respected the leaders and managers. If you were temple president, that was a really big thing. But then there were some scandals and there were some problems. And because of that, then devotees today, it's a difficult thing to find people who really will respect the leaders and managers. But we should understand, it's a needed thing. It's very important that we give respect to this person. I'll give you one example, some questions. Would you be able to, just very honestly, raise your hand, how many of you could respect a temple president if you found out he was taking money from the hundi, from the deity box, for himself? Raise your hand. Could anybody give respect to him? Okay. Wow. Now, could anybody give respect if you found out that leader was having illicit relations with some other devotee's wife? No. Okay. Could you respect him if you found out he was having illicit relations with many wives other than that? And not only that, but sometimes he was beating devotees. But not only that, but sometimes he was killing cows. And not only that, but sometimes he was breaking temples. Would you be able to respect him? Now, what if I told you that that person was an eternal associate of the Lord? And that his activities were part of his service to the Lord, and his name was Jaya Vijay, or Hiranyakashipu, or Hiranyaksha. And Prabhupada says in one purport, although they were demoniac, and although we certainly don't appreciate the activities that they did, still we respect. We give respect to those persons. Something. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Kalina Kalpataru, he says that he speaks about the demons in Gaura Lila, and he says that actually they're nourishing the pastimes of the Lord, and he says, I offer my obeisances to them because they're great personalities. They're associates of the Lord. So as we spoke yesterday something about the pastime of Brilu Muni, we can't see who's a devotee and who's not a devotee. But we respect someone's position. If someone's a manager, and we do that for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. We do that for the pleasure of Krishna. Even outside of this society, we also give respect to the police officers. We give respect to our parents. They gave birth to us. They may not be vegetarian, but they're my parents. I should give respect. We give respect to the President of the United States. You don't have to agree with him. It's okay. You don't have to like him, even. And there may be some protests, there may be whatever, but we give respect to that position. If there's no respect given, then how will the society go on? In a secular way? Or what to speak of it in our devotional way? So this is Raja Maryada, the third position of respect. But even more than Raja Maryada, we give respect to Vidya Maryada, especially here in Boston, I think. We give respect to learned persons. We respect education. Education is a very, very important thing to help uplift society. Because the nature of people, when they're not educated, they become very selfish. They become very sectarian. But when someone has more education, someone's traveled all over the world, someone knows different languages, they understand something about different cultures, different philosophies, they naturally become more broad-minded. And we give respect to such persons. But even more than Vidya Maryada, we give respect to Sadguna Maryada, someone who has good qualities. They may be a rickshawala. I remember once we were having a difficult time. It's a common thing. In India, if you have white skin and you want to get a rickshaw, and it's maybe a 10 rupee ride, and they want to charge you 200 rupees. Some crazy thing. And I get very annoyed sometimes with them. I remember we went through one time, 5 or 6 rickshaws came, and I kept trying to get a proper price, and they wouldn't do it. And I was getting annoyed when they started walking away. And then one rickshawala came up and stopped for us and said, "Get on." And I said, yeah. How much? And he said, 10 rupees, 10 rupees. Oh, a very honest, nice person. We got on the rickshaw, and we started going. He turned around to us with a big smile on his face, and he started singing all these wonderful songs about Lord Jagannath. Such a nice person. And he's a rickshawala. Maybe he's not very educated.Maybe he knows some songs, but he can't even write his own name. But we'll give more respect to him because he has good qualities. Once I tell this story sometimes, we were invited to give a talk at a Pando program in Orissa. The governor of Orissa was also supposed to be there. And there was like 20,000 people or something that came for that program. So they sent a car for us. When I got in the car, there was one scholar who was sitting in the car. And this fellow was amazing. He was also going to be one of the speakers at the program. He's a Sanskrit scholar. At a young age, like 8 or 10 years old, he memorized the entire Bhagavad Gita, every verse. And he knew, speaking with him, it seemed like he knew hundreds, maybe thousands of verses from the Bhagavatam. And he was quoting verses to me from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also from Lalita Madhav and Vidagdha Madhav, and so many Gaudiya literatures. He was just an astonishing person. Maybe he knew more verses than practically everybody in our movement put together. But as we were discussing, he started revealing some of his personal ecstasies. First thing he told me is that actually Jagannath is Buddha. I wasn't very inspired to hear that. And then he went on to speak more things and how much he appreciated eating fish, because fish is good for your brain and that. And then he's also smoking cigarettes and things. He's a great scholar. He knows so very, very much. But who wants to associate with such a person? I'd rather associate with a new bhakta in our society who has some good qualities. I'd rather associate with our rickshawala. This is Sadguna Maryada. And we give more respect to that even than we give to education. But education is something we should respect. If someone comes here to the temple and they're a professor from Harvard University or something, we should give respect to that person. That's required. A cultured person will do that. A Vaishnava will naturally give respect for particular reasons. And Vidya is one of them, knowledge. But more than that, Sadguna. But even more than Sadguna Maryada, we give respect to Varna Maryada. Someone who's acting according to their particular Varna, who has, it's a very subtle, very deep thing. What this Varna Maryada implies is that someone who's rightly situated, someone who has a proper occupation, an honest occupation. And for example, my spiritual master, he grew up in a Vaishnava family. He just wanted to worship Gopal, their family deity. He didn't want anything to do with family life. But when his father passed away, he was at a young age, his mother insisted that he should get married. And he was unhappy about that. And okay, what can I do? Now I have to get a job. And so he decided, I want some honest occupation. I'll become a school teacher. Doesn't pay so well, but I'll take up that occupation. So we should give respect to Varna Maryada. And Varna Maryada means especially we give respect to the Brahmins. And the Brahmins, because they have the qualities both of knowledge and they have good behavior. When we speak of Varna Maryada, especially the Brahmins. But more than that, we give respect to Ashram Maryada. Very, very few people who are acting according to Varna in the world today. We can respect them if they are. But very, very few people, hardly any of those, are actually living according to ashram. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur and our Acharya Srila Prabhupada said devotees should have some position of ashram. It's not that you just have this Gupta ashram. I'm a bachelor. What is a bachelor? I'm kind of sort of like a brahmachari, but not really. Maybe I have a girlfriend once in a while. I'm a bachelor, That's not an ashram. We have an ashram because it's a place where we have ashray. We take shelter. And we do that because it's going to help us in our bhakti. So we have a brahmachari ashram. Prabhupada in one lecture, I think it was in Delhi, one Pandal program, he was saying something like this: Brahmachari ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanapashta ashram, Sannyas ashram. These are all ashrams. These are all places where we practice spiritual life. This temple is an ashram. It's a building. It's a place where you have ashray, where you have shelter. And the brahmacharis and the devotees who are staying here in the temple, they're taking shelter of this building, this ashram, to help them in their spiritual life. But if there's a leak in the roof, it may disturb your bhajan. And so you want to fix that. So similarly, in Grihastha ashram, it means that you have a wife, you have children. It means you have to take care of them. And if you don't take care of them, there'll be some disturbance in your bhajan. We sometimes tell devotees that part of your Grihastha ashram business is that you should tell your wife every day two things. I love you and you're beautiful. Now, why do you do that? It sounds very romantic. The ladies will like that very much. Why do you do that? Because if you don't do that, someone else might do that. And if someone else does that, brahmacharis. If you don't love the brahmacharis, then you end up loving a woman. You end up getting married. But how do we love devotees? We'll speak something more about this maybe next. So this ashram maryada is important, and we respect, especially the renounced members, the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis. And not just because of their costume, because their wow, orange cloth really gets me excited. And I want to respect that. But because of their qualities that they have. Because we see some renunciation there. And we want, as a society, to encourage renunciation. We want to support that. And so it's very important for the grihastas, they maintain all those different ashrams. Srila Prabhupada, he writes in a purport to 3rd Canto Bhagavatam, let's see, chapter 14, text 18, he says, there are 4 social orders for cooperation in the endeavor for liberation from material existence. The orders of brahmacharya, or pious student life, household life with a wife, retired life, and renounced life, all depend for successful advancement on the householder who lives with a wife. This is Vaishnava Sanga. All the different ashrams, they depend upon the grihastha. And that's the grihastha's business. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in Krishna Samhita, he says that we respect all the different ashrams. He said the sannyas ashram we give the most respect to. Because in the sannyas ashram, the brahmacharya ashram, vanaprastha ashram, those 3 ashrams, life is simple. And you can just focus yourself on spiritual life. It's very, very nice. He said, but it's not that they're necessarily better than the grihastas. He said the grihastha ashram is also very good. In some ways, he says the grihastha ashram is the best ashram in Kali Yuga. Why? He said because in grihastha ashram is the happiness of serving guests. We get that happiness. With the sannyasis, they don't have the facility to do that, or the brahmacharis. So there's some great pleasure in that thing. So we give respect to ashram, ashram maryada, and especially that means to the sannyasis. I know some of the devotees I spoke to were with Srila Prabhupada once on a morning walk in Vrindavan. And as they were going, there were some members of the Ramakrishna mission, sannyasis, who generally have some impersonal conception. They were coming from the other direction. And when they saw Srila Prabhupada, they gave some greeting as they normally do to other sannyasis, Mayavadi sannyasis. They said, Namo Narayan. I offer my respects to you, you're Narayan. And Prabhupada said, Krishna Materastu, you think of Krishna, or Hare Krishna. I don't know exactly what he said. And then the devotees kept walking, and suddenly Prabhupada stopped. And he slammed his cane down on the ground. And he turned to the devotees and said, why didn't you offer obeisances to them? They're sannyasis. And one of the devotees said, but Prabhupada, they're Mayavadis. They're not devotees. Prabhupada said, they're sannyasis. And you should give respect to a sannyasi. Prabhupada writes in one place, I think it was one letter, he said, if you don't give respect, you don't offer obeisances to the sannyasi, then you should fast for that day. Not for the sake of the sannyasi, but for my sake, and for the sake of the society, because we want to cultivate these values. Because respect is kind of like the carrot that hangs in front of the donkey of society. And we see respect in the material society also. You may be born in what many people in society would consider to be a low-class birth. In America, it's not politically correct to say, but you may be born in Watts, or you may be born in Harlem, in a very, very poor family. And there's no aristocracy, there's no big respect or anything. But if you get some money, if you get some fame, if you get a beautiful wife, you become a member of the Harlem Globetrotters or something, then you become world famous and everybody gives respect to you. And so in material society, the carrot that's dangling in front of all of them is fame and sex life, bodily respect. And it doesn't really matter in material society what your birth is, but if you get a lot of money, then you can become the President of the United States of America. If you have a very beautiful woman, you have a lot of women following you around, and everybody gives you respect. If you become a famous person, you're a Hollywood movie star or something, you may have the worst character in the world, but everybody gives you respect because you're famous. And that's our culture today. And we see that there's a lot of problems with that. And we should contemplate also in our temples, how do we give respect in the temples? So Bhaktivinoda says there's 7 different levels of respect. The seventh position is ashram maryada, and we especially respect sannyasis because of their renunciation, because we want to encourage everyone to give up material existence. But the eighth and highest aspect of respect in the most elevated culture is what? Even more than ashram maryada, even more than giving respect to sannyasis, is bhakti maryada. In the Hari Bhakti Sutta, there's a story given of Parasara Muni. At that time, Parasara Muni was 7 years old. And one day he entered into an assembly of rishis, sages. He's a good little boy. He's a little boy, but he wanted association with sadhus. And so he entered into this assembly of the Vaisnavas, and Markandeya Rishi, who was 7 kalpas old, right? The little boy, Parasara, was 7 years old. Markandeya Rishi was 7 kalpas old. And when Parasara entered into that assembly, when Markandeya Rishi immediately stood up and offered obeisances to that little boy. And it created something of a confusion in that assembly also. Because the respect that we give in an assembly is an important thing. If in this assembly I give more respect to a new bhakta right now than I do to Niranjan Maharaj, he's very tall, he may not mind that. But it's an offense in a way to the assembly. The devotees will feel disturbed. Why is he doing like that? It's not right. We should respect the senior person in the assembly. It's important as a Sangha that the devotees are peaceful. They're happy with our choices, how we give respect. So everyone was a little confused. Why is he giving respect to this little boy? And the person who was the most confused and the most distressed by that was the little boy, Parasara Muni. And he said, why are you doing this? I'm just a little boy. I'm just 7 years old. Those bums would come to the temple, and they had no facility for taking bath, and they were unpopular at the temple, and so the devotees would go and do like that. But at the same time, you see someone coming to the temple, and he's a wealthy man. Maybe he's a millionaire, and he has a condom business or pornography business or something. You give him a garland, and everybody claps their hands and like that. And we want to respect that person. There's something wrong with that. Now, we may give respect to that person because he has some money and because also for preaching we want to do that. And practically, it may not be very reasonable for us to welcome all the bums into the temple. But you don't know who those bums are. One of them could be Gorkishore Babaji, or some elevated Vaishnava. We should give respect to everyone, but we should do it dehonata jeta jeta in a proper way. If we just invite all the bums into the temple here, who else is going to come? The people from the universities won't want to come. They won't feel comfortable. But it doesn't mean we have to disrespect them. We should give them respect. We give them some prasadam. Someone give them some sweet words. Maybe you give them some old clothing we have left over or something. We give some respect like that. And that'll bring some happiness to us. So this bhakti maryada, this is the most important aspect of respect. So we have a few more minutes. I'd like to speak about another aspect of respect, which is a little controversial in a way. I'd like to speak something about respect according to gender. And this is an interesting subject, very, very important topic. We see in every culture in the world, there's some understanding about yin and yang, about prakriti and purush. There's some idea about men and women, and they have particular roles, and there should be respect given for those roles. I see in India that women are worshipped, and I also see in the West women are worshipped. But they're worshipped in a very different way. In the West here, they're worshipped as sex goddesses, isn't it? And when a girl becomes even about 12 years old or something, I don't know, 12, 13, maybe 14, all the boys start worshipping her. And they follow around behind her like dogs. And they offer her chocolate and sweets and come to the movie and whatever like that. And for her beauty. But in a society where respect is given based on a physical beauty, there's also a lot of inherent anxiety. Because you marry that girl in the society today because she's beautiful, but then a few pizzas later and some ice cream or whatever, she's become a little bigger. And we don't want to love her anymore. Or she becomes old. Because of the society we have today, it's interesting society. Let me ask you a question. What is the #1 product produced in the world today? What would you say?
Cosmetics.
No. Okay. Anybody else?
No.
#1 product, the most produced thing all over the world. What would you say?
Women accessories.
What is it?
Women accessories.
Women's accessories. No. Anybody else? I ask this question very often. People say cars, cell phones, computers. No, no, no. And I'm going to give an answer. And if you don't agree with me, then we can continue the discussion. But I think everybody will agree. The #1 product that's created in the world today is garbage. And we're drowning ourselves in garbage. And it's a garbage culture. In the 1940s, historically, this is a historical fact, some of the big businessmen in America got together and they began speaking how they can make more money. And up to that point, when you would buy a car or something, it was meant to last for your whole life. But they had this great idea that we're going to just start making things intentionally to break down. And so the life of that car, the life of this thing that you're buying, instead of lasting your whole life, it's only going to last for so many years. You buy a cell phone, how many, will you keep a cell phone for 20 years? What's the average you keep a cell phone for? Yeah, 2, 3 years. Maybe if you keep it for 4 or 5 years, you probably, the software on it needs to be updated and you can't even use it properly. The same thing with the computer. The same thing with so many items. If you go and buy a barbecue briquette or something, or some furniture or something, everything is meant to break down today, to encourage people to buy something new. So we're producing garbage like anything. And we have this conception in people in the West today that it's okay, I'll just buy something, and when it breaks down, I just throw it away, and I get a new one. And we also do that with our relationships. I get a friend, and it doesn't really matter. The friendship will work as long as we have some mutual interest in mind. But when the mutual interests aren't there anymore, then I can just dump him. And the same thing goes for a wife or for a husband. The wife's very beautiful, so Mary is very nice, but when she gets a little too heavyset, when she becomes old, then I get rid of her. I throw her away and I get a new mind. It's a garbage culture. And so our relationships become garbage. Our society becomes garbage. Everything then becomes garbage. So this is a society where respect for 50% of its members is just based on something physical. And inherent in that kind of respect that we have in the West today is tremendous, tremendous anxiety. I don't know what it's like to be a young, beautiful girl, at least in this life, but I can imagine it must be pretty intoxicating to have all the boys following you around with the chocolate bars and the movie tickets and whatever it is like that. It's a pretty good thing. You must feel pretty good about it. But what happens with that is tremendous anxiety because they worship you because you're beautiful, not because of who you are or what you're like. And then you're always in anxiety. Maybe he's going to find someone who's more beautiful, that he likes better than me. And then as you get married and your relationship goes on, you're in anxiety because I'm getting older now. And we see it in the West. Many men, they leave their wives for younger women. So there's tremendous, tremendous anxiety along with this thing. And that disturbs the whole society. And it disturbs those persons who, according to Vedic culture, are the most important members of society. And that's the mothers. It's said in Brahma-Vivarta Purana, Matar itjeva sabdena yamcha sambhasate nara samatitulya satjena dharma sakshi satamapi. In Vedic culture, women are also worshipped tremendously. They're tremendously worshipped in Western culture today, which Western culture today also means Delhi and Mumbai and the big cities in India, they're also worshipped in this way for their bodies. But women traditionally worshipped in India as mothers. And the phrase Mataji, which has almost become a slur sometimes in our society, unfortunately, we'll say, all the Prabhus will stand over here, and the Matajis over there. It's like a second-class citizen or something like that. And so therefore sometimes, it's just semantics. I don't want to get involved in this debate. But sometimes people, they say, well, we should call everyone Prabhu. I have a hard time with that personally because I live in India. And I like to speak a little bit of Oriya or Bengali or Hindi to people. And that's weird. You don't, it'd be like in America going to a lady and saying, excuse me, Mr. Sir, something. It's just not part of the language. But it's a semantic thing because sometimes in society, we may do that. In our society, Prabhupada did call some of the ladies, he called some of his Western lady disciples, he called them Prabhu. To my knowledge, Srila Prabhupada never did that with any Hindi-speaking ladies or anything like that. It's not something worth fighting about. And it's an individual decision. But the point is that in Vedic culture, in Indian culture, mothers are worshipped. And the Brahma Vivarta Purana says, Mata Ityeva Sabdena, that if you address someone as mother, then you should understand that Dharma personified has heard that statement. And that person becomes like your mother. The mother is the most worshipable person in Vedic culture, and even all over the world. The word mata in Sanskrit means honored, or to give respect. Just within that name, that personality should be given respect. And do you know an interesting thing? The word mata is also a Hebrew word, and the word mata is also an Old English word in Scottish English. Mata in Hebrew means a field of crops, which is also the nature of mother. She's giving fruit, she's giving some crops. And in the English, Scottish English, mata word means a gift of God. That's mother. Someone who's a gift of God. Someone in Sanskrit, mata means to be honored. And this is described in Narada Pancharatra. Why do we say Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha? Why do we put Radharani's name before Krishna's name? Did you ever think about that? Why is it we say Jai Shri Radha Govinda, Jai Shri Radha Shamsundar, Jai Shri Radha Madhav, Shri Radha Gopinath? It's always Radharani before Krishna's name. Adosamucharet Radham Paschat Krishnam Chamadavam Viparitam Yadi Patet Brahmahatyam Labedruvam. The Brahma Vivarta Purana says that first you say the name Radha, and then you say the name Krishna or Madhav. And if you do the opposite, I don't know exactly how this works, but if you do the opposite, then you get the result of killing a Brahman. Why? Because Sri Krishna Jagatam Tato Jaganmata Charadika Pitu Sadgunumat Mata Vanjapu Jagadiyasi. Because Krishna is the father of the world. And Radharani is the mother, and because the mother is 100 times more worshipable and higher in point of respect due than the father. This is Vedic culture. Dasa chaiva pratin mata sarvam vapativim api goravin abhivavati nasti matri samoguru matagadiyase yachcha tenaitam manyate jana. It said in the Mahabharata, Anusasana Parva, that your mother is equal to 10 fathers. Your mother is equal to the whole earth. There's no senior person equal to the mother. She's above all others in terms of reverence and respect due to her. And it's for this reason that people offer so much respect to their mother. A very, very important thing. Manasamhita speaks about this also. Pitibir Bhativischaita Patibir Devaraistata Puja Busayata Vritas Chabahu Kalyanam Ipsubi. That women must be honored. And how do you honor them? Very important principle which you should learn this. You honor them by giving them ornaments. Sometimes we see in India, you don't know, sometimes the bracelets, they have some meaning. And ladies, they wear bracelets because it means they're loved. It means they're protected. And when they're young girls, their fathers give them bracelets. And when they're married, they get the bracelets. And in Orissa, Eastern India, West Bengal, and that, they wear red and white bracelets. It means they have a husband, someone who loves them and gives them ornaments. And a lady who doesn't have bracelets, that means that she's considered a prostitute. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada, I saw in one conversation, he was encouraging the ladies, in the West, do as you like. He said, but when you come to India, please wear some jewelry like that. And this is important. This is how men should honor ladies. You can honor your daughter by giving her some jewelry. You can honor your wife like this. You can honor your mother by giving them some ornaments. And he says that you do this, Bahu Kalyanam Ipsubi, not just for her benefit, but Manasamhita says it's for your welfare, your benefit, for the benefit of society, because Yatanaryas Tupujante Ramante Tattadevataha Yatraitastu Napujante Sarvas Tatra Falakriyaha, where women are given honor and respect. And that place, Ramante Tattadevataha, the Devatas, in Krishna's Deva Jagatpate, he's the king of all the Devas, where women are given respect and honor, the gods are pleased. And when they're not honored, no sacred rite yields rewards. You may do some sacrifice, some kind of thing, but you won't get a proper benefit for that. So then, what about in our Krishna consciousness movement? What about in Vedic culture, in Vaishnava culture? In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila, chapter 18, there's a very wonderful story. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was beginning the Sankirtan movement. And one day he called all the devotees together and he said, tomorrow we're going to have a drama at the house of Buddhimanta Khan. And everybody's going to come and we're going to do this drama, and I'm going to present the supreme goddess of fortune. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the devotees something very significant. He said, but the only people who can come to watch the drama are people who are free from sex desire. And all the men there, they became quiet. Advaita Acharya, he drew a line on the ground with his toe. And he said, I'm not going. And Srivas Thakur said, yeah, me either, then I can't go. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw it was a problem then. So Mahaprabhu told him, he said, anyway, don't worry. I'll give you some special benediction. And anyone who comes to this drama, they won't be disturbed by the sex life. And so in the drama, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came out on the stage. Haridas Thakur, he was a chokidar. He was a guardian. He had a stick in his hand. And he came out on the stage and said, it'd be really good to have someone like us for Bhagavatam class. He came out and said, anybody who falls asleep, I'm going to bang them on the head. That was his function. And each different, the devotees, they were all playing different roles. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came out as Lakshmi Devi. And she was so beautiful. Sachimata, his mother, was watching, and she said to one of her, who is that? Said, you don't recognize that's your own son. So very, very beautiful. And so in that drama, it said, Kripa Jala Nidhi Prabhu Hoila Sabare Sabara Janani Baba Hoila Antare Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When the devotees, they saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking the role, not just of Mahalakshmi, but also as Rukmini, as Sachi Devi, the wife of Indra. He took the role of so many different Shaktis, Durga Devi, and others of the Lord, also Srimati Radharani. When the Mahaprabhu became like that, it said that he became like Kripa Jala Nidhi, like an ocean of mercy. And in the hearts, all the devotees there, Sabara Janani Bhav, they all in their mood, they accepted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be like their mother. Paraloka hoiti jena aila janani, anande krandana kori, apanana jani. And feeling like their own mother had come down from the spiritual world, because Jagan Radhika, that Srimati Radharani is the supreme mother, understanding that, all the devotees felt intense ecstasy. They felt like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was their own mother. Jata Jata Narayani Shakti Jagata Janani Sei Sabahoy Yache Vaisnava Grihini Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. And Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says, very wonderful thing, not just Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says that Jata Narayani Shakti Jagati Grihani say Sabha. Sabha means all. That all the wives of the Vaishnavas, we should understand that they've appeared as the mother of the universe, Narayani. Narayani is also a name who is the supreme Narayani, is Srimati Radharani. And in his purport, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the women of this world are bodily expansions of Narayani, Radharani, Narayani's energies. The women of this world are bodily expansions of Narayani's energies. Unlike the non-devotees, the Vaishnavas are not influenced by the spirit of enjoyment to consider the energies of Narayani, the mother of the universe, as supreme. And he says then, Vrindavan Das Thakur says that Mata Putre Jaina Hoy Sneha Anurag E Mata Sabari Dilina Putra Bhav. The Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what kind of feeling did he have for the devotees? The same attachment. The devotees felt the same attachment that a child has for the mother. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave those feelings. He felt that for the devotees. And then, one by one, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the devotees on his lap. Anande Vaishnava Sabha Kore Stanapan Koti Koti Janma Jan Mahabhagyavan Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. All those Vaishnavas, the most fortunate personalities in all the three worlds, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took them on his lap, and one by one, she offered her breast to the devotees and began breastfeeding all the devotees. And the devotees were feeling so much ecstasy. Could you imagine? Breastfeeding from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's breast, that's pretty good stuff, isn't it? Huh? And Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Stanapani Sabbara Viraha Gela Dura Prema Rase Sabe Mata Hoila Prachura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. Stanapani, Stana means the breast, Stanapana means to drink. When they drank from the breast of Sri Chaitanya Sabbara, all those persons, Viraha Gela Dura, their feelings of separation from the Lord were mitigated. And Prema Rashe Sabe Mata Hoila Prachura, they all became mad in divine ecstasy. This is the beginning of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. This is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the mission of Sankirtan. The mission of Sankirtan is the mission of Srimati Radharani. The mission of Sankirtan is a mission of a mother. It's a mood of giving. It's a mood of tolerance. And as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in his purport, the devotees, they should respect not just Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but all the ladies, all the Vaishnavis, and all the women. Matagat Padadadeshu. We should see all women like our mother. In the Mahabharata, there's a story of one king who disrespected a cow. And because of that, the Kamadhenu cow, the original mother of all the cows, she became offended with him, and she withdrew all of her mercy. And so similarly, in the Manasamhita, it says that in that place where women are not given proper respect, the sacrifice doesn't work. This sacrifice, the Sankirtan, Yajna, is very, very important also, that we should respect that feeling of women, the position of mothers. And if that's given, then everyone becomes satisfied. Everyone becomes very, very happy. And there's happiness, there's peace of mind for the ladies, whereas we were mentioning here in the West, where women are respected and worshipped as sex objects, and how inherent in that kind of respect is tremendous anxiety, because that respect is short-lived. It's just based upon your body, it's based upon the whim of some man. But in traditional Vedic culture, respect is given from mothers, and the older that you get, the fatter that you get, the more children that you have, the more respect that you get. It's just the opposite. People really respect and love them as mothers. And in a society where those mothers are not given proper respect, then things don't go properly. Because these two energies have to work properly together. Everyone needs to have some woman behind him. And therefore, we are reading this purport from 3rd Canto Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says it's a duty of the grihastas to maintain all the different ashrams, but not just the men alone. Prabhupada says the men and their wives. And in other purports in that section, Prabhupada says the men, they're unable to fulfill their debt to those women. The women, they're so very, very helpful to the men to help, to serve as atithis, to help serve the guests, to help serve all the different ashrams. And that's the foundation of society. So this is a very difficult subject matter when we speak about social issues. And it's a very controversial subject matter. And I'm not going to try to take this side or that side, but I would like to make a little comment about the controversy with it. Srila Prabhupada came to America, and he gave respect to the ladies. In the early days, I spoke personally with Mother Jamuna about this, Prabhupada's senior disciple. There was no distinction between the men and the women. In fact, in the early days, everybody used the same bathroom. They were all waiting in queue for the bathroom. And even they wore the same clothes. They had this yellow cloth that they cut out, and the ladies would wear it like saris, and the men would wear it like dhotis. And then women would give class, and the men would give class, and the ladies would do kirtan, and the men would do kirtan, and there was really no distinction between anything. And then some of the men who Prabhupada sent to India, they came back and they said, wait a minute, we're doing everything wrong. And they introduced some other system. So now there's some controversy about that. And it's very interesting to me that Srila Prabhupada didn't address this directly. He didn't say that we should do as we did in the early days in ISKCON. We should always have that system. Nor did he exactly say we should do exactly like they're doing in the villages in India, here in Boston, or other things. And I was contemplating that point this morning. And to me, what that says is that Srila Prabhupada, first of all, I don't think he was super concerned about it. If you want to protect your bhakti, bhakti and nanashiti, if we want to protect the bhakti of our movement, then we should learn to love devotees. How do we love devotees? We love them for Krishna Katha. We love them for Krishna Kirtan. We love them for their services. And nowhere does it say you should only appreciate this gender and not that gender, or this gender is more important. It's not described. And I don't think that Srila Prabhupada was so worried about this thing. I think he saw that if we chant Hare Krishna, and if the system of respect, amanina manadena, is there with devotees, then automatically some social system will develop. And the social system that will develop in the community here in Boston will necessarily be different. It's not going to be exactly the same as what the social system is going to be in Gujarat, or in the villages of India, some other different place, or in Russia, or in Sweden, or in China. There's going to be little different cultures. How that culture comes out in the end, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the basic fundamentals of bhakti should be the essence of that culture. We should always keep Krishna in the center, in the form of Krishna Katha, in the form of Krishna Kirtan, worshipping the deity, doing Sankirtan, doing book distribution, those things. Those are the most important. And the principle of amanina manadena, giving respect. And we can contemplate these 8 different types of respect. We need to have some system. How am I going to give respect to everybody? So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given us that. And how exactly that will translate, that's a work in progress right now. We'll see. So we'll stop there. We're down a few minutes over our time. Nandi, do you want to say something? Any reflections about something I said? Additional comments, corrections, anything?
I could say, but I don't think they're necessary to say.
So, did anybody else have any reflections? But we can take questions also, but I'd like reflections first. Anybody have any thoughts, any inspirations you've gotten from this discussion today? Or maybe connected something, other thought in your mind or something? Before questions, any reflections? Vaisnava does this all the time. I love it. It's such a nice way for Vaishnava Sangha Bhima Guru.
Well, I was actually taking a little bit back in Tree of Life, Lochana Dastakur says, manifesting the form of tree-boring insect, the woman entered my heart. When we first read that, I was taken aback. You know, this is one of the problems of misrepresentation of how a woman is in the life. But then I went back as you were talking and realized the divine material love. So you have two sides to the understanding. One is, of course, the enjoyment, material love of a woman versus respect and love in companionship in the service of Krishna. So that kind of made everything clear.
Oh, nice. Also, we can understand from the Bhagavatam that tree-boring insect for a man is a woman, and a tree-boring insect for a woman is also a man. Is a man. It's different for different genders like that. That's a nice comment. Thank you. Anything else? Any questions from anybody?
I think I had a comment.
Could you?
Madhavananda always make reference in his commentation and purports about Chanaka Pandit, and he had something to say about the role of women, and the corollary of that is also true that an unchaste woman is the enemy in a sense. If she, so should we view everybody as Prakriti? Like, for instance, should I view my children as Prakriti? In the sense they potentially could be young women in the next life, let's say. So I'm also Prakriti. So I also have to know what it is to be a chaste woman.
So let me try to paraphrase your question. Should we see everyone as Prakriti? Yeah. And he's saying how Chanakya Pandit says that a woman who's like a prostitute is an unchaste woman, is an enemy. Yeah. So should we see everyone as Prakriti? That's your basic question?
Well, yeah, in a sense, yeah. Well, I was just kind of making a comment more than a question.
Okay.
It's a question.
Just a nice quote.
Yeah.
That answers the question.
Okay.
I give my son the book Saved by a Chanaka. College students need all the little aphorism they can.
Well, Maharaj is looking this up. I'll make a little comment. That Matriva Padadari Shu, we should see all women as mother. That's what it says.
We should see this material world and everything in it is full of ingredients for the Lord's service. Everything in this world is meant for Krishna's service. The day when we can look at the world like this and become liberated from the material conception, we'll be able to see the material world as the spiritual world, the Loka. We should treat all women as Krishna's beloveds. They are to be enjoyed by him. Do not look at them with an enjoying spirit. They are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna, never by the living entities. Treat your father and mother as Krishna's father and mother. Instead of considering your children your servants, treat them as friends of child Krishna. Then you will not see the material world everywhere but the Lord.
If you would like to see the Saraswati. A wife who's going to have children, then automatically there's some respect. I'm not just looking for, excuse my colloquial language, but a hot babe or something like that. There's some respect there. Because with mothers, we always respect mothers. So if you marry for someone that I want to have someone who's going to be a good mother for my children, then immediately there's respect. And when your wife gives birth to a child, again there's respect. She's taking care of this child. She's a mother there. And that's a very, very important thing. That then 50% of our society is going to feel very satisfied, and everyone's going to feel very protected. Because men need that kind of Shakti. They need the female Shakti behind them. Most men. They need someone who's going to mother them, somebody who's going to encourage them and tell them you're the best. Who was it who created the light bulb? Was it Emerson? Edison, that's right, thank you. You may know there's a story about Edison. When he was a young boy, he was going to school. And one day his mother got a letter from the school. She opened the letter and she read it. And the letter said something like, we're very sorry to tell you, but we think your child is retarded. And he's so stupid that he has no place here in the school. And that you should just take him out of school and keep him at home. And so her son saw her reading. I said, Mom, what's the letter say? She didn't want to tell him. She said, well, the letter says that out of all the students, you're the most intelligent in the whole school. And that you're so intelligent, you're so more above everybody else that you can't function in the school. It's better if I teach you here at home. She spoke to him like that. And he became one of the greatest geniuses in American history because of the support of his mother. So everyone needs that. Everyone needs the energy, the support of a mother. Okay? Anything else this time? All right, thank you all very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.